Today, on the VinceEverettEllison Show, we're going to talk about why the Democrats are allegedly or figuratively trying to kill or take out Donald Trump. Yeah, we're going to talk about today. So I want you to subscribe, I want you to like, I want you to comment on this because they're really going to try to block this one. So we're going to talk about why the Democrats are trying to figuratively or allegedly kill Donald Trump today on the VinceEverettEllison Show. All right, let's get this thing started. You know, a few years ago, there was this great movie called Gladiator. Man, I love this movie. It was Russell Crowe playing. And the movie was about a gladiator in Roman times. Well, he was a general, actually, before he became a gladiator. His name was Maximus Decimus Meridius. And he was the best general in the Roman army. Well, the emperor of that time, his name was Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius was old, and everybody thought that when Marcus died, he was going to give his throne to his son by the name of Commodus. Commodus was crazy as hell. Just a complete psychopath. He wasn't a good man. And Marcus Aurelius understood that if he gave his kingdom to Commodus, he was going to turn it into a cesspool. So he called in Maximus one night and said, Maximus, when I die, I want you to take over my kingdom.
I want you to become the protector of Rome after I die. I will empower you to one end alone, to give power back to the people of Rome and end the corruption that has crippled it.
But Maximus, of course, did not want to do it. And Marcus said, well, that's why it's got to be you, Maximus. Commodus is not a good man. He's immoral. So Maximus reluctantly said he would do it. Well, that didn't set well with Commodus. But he was already a psychopath. So, Marcus really should have known. He should have had his guards around him when he told him that he wasn't going to give him the kingdom. But he told it to him in private. And of course, Commodus took Marcus Aurelius out before he could make the announcement to the rest of the world.
I would put to the whole world if you would only love me.
And then he went to kill Maximus. Well, after so much, they tried to kill Maximus like about 10, 15 times. Maximus was beating everything he threw at him. And then Commodus finally walked up to Maximus and said, you just won't die.
What am I going to do with you? You simply won't die.
That's what Kamala Harris is telling Donald Trump right now. Think about this. The allegory here. Joe Biden being Marcus Aurelius, Kamala Harris being Commodus, taking him out. And now they got to get down. Now she wants to get Donald Trump because he's the heir apparent. And they've tried all of this stuff to take him out. All of it. But Trump just won't die. Why are they trying to do it? Why is DT so dangerous? Why are they trying to eliminate this man? I mean, look at what they've done. First, they allegedly stole the 2020 election. That's what Trump says. That's what Trump says. We all know there was no street money. We all know there was no ballot harvesting. We all know there was no bottle of liquor in a pork chop sandwich. We all know there was no soul to the polls buses rolling on that day. All of that was just hyperbole. Democrats don't steal elections. Never have. Martin Luther King was telling a lie when they got, that whole thing when they got their asses whooped on that Edmund Pettus Bridge because they fought on the voting rights. What voting rights? Negroes was voting. 100% voting in the South. They lied about not voting. In Chicago, Daley never stole an election in Chicago. All that stuff about vote early and often was just a lie. Lying people talking about political machines and whatnot, buying votes, poll taxes, lie. Literacy test, lie. 8-box rules, lie. Intimidation, lie. So, of course, Democrats don't steal elections. Wink, 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 wink. So, after the election was not stolen in 2020, what did they do then? Well, they put the sex assault charges on it. And the little skinny, ugly white woman looked like the crypt keeper. Go up and said that Donald Trump, what, raped her in a, what was it, in a changing room or something back about 70 years, 50, 60, 70 years ago. Well, they tried him on that twice. Then they put like 4 indictments on him, 900 charges. I think Trump had more charges than R. Kelly. Trump had more charges than P. Diddy. Just charging the man. Creasy James tried to take all his property. A little dude up in Manhattan, little ugly little dude, whatever his name was, I forget his name, forget him. He tried to indict him up in Manhattan on some charges. Then they raided Mar-a-Lago with guns blazing. Went in there to talk about he stole his own papers. All this stuff's been kicked out. And then what did they do? They tried to take him off the ballot. Look, they took Abraham Lincoln off the ballot. Same Democrats took Lincoln off the ballot in all the southern states in the 1860 election. Did you know you couldn't vote for Abraham Lincoln in South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, and all those states? Couldn't vote for him. They tried to do the same thing to Donald Trump. There ain't nothing new under the sun. Maine and Colorado had to go to the Supreme Court again. Supreme Court said you can't do that. They were like, oh boy, how do we get it? Then all of a sudden we see a little geek nerd on the roof with Secret Service agents all around him. Get off 5, 6, 7 shots. Yes. Got him in the ear. He survives that. In the last attempt, the man's outside playing golf on his own golf course. Dude has set up for 12 hours. Had a sniper's nest for 12 hours waiting for him. And somebody happened to see the barrel of the gun pointed out and stopped it. And he said, And then Kamala Harris then walk out and they said, you simply just won't die. People, the question I have is, why are they trying to take out Donald Trump? Why don't they just have an election? Let the people decide. And then whatever the people decide, you just say, okay, let's go. The people have decided. This is what we're going to do. No. They don't trust the people. See, for the last 50 years, the federal government and the state governments have been involved in re-educating this population. Stupidest thing we ever did in our lives was to put our government over the education of the population of their people. Do you know how stupid that is? See, this is the stuff that the Russians did when they took over, what the communists did when they took over Russia. This is the stuff that the Chinese did when they took over, the communists did when they took over China. This is the type of stuff that Mao Zedong did and Stalin did. And this is what Ho Chi Minh did in Vietnam. This is what Fidel Castro and Che Guevara did when they took over Cuba. They said the government now will educate its people, and they will educate their people to think that the government is God and that the government is all powerful. So about 50 years they've been doing that. They've been doing it. Now they've almost got a completely compliant population. But there's some dead enders out there that are a little bit old, that are over 50 years old, that are fighting back real hard on this. And there's some children that have gone to private school that they hadn't gotten to. And these people are dangerous. They can't control them. These people are fighting back. And these people are the ones at the foundation of what Donald Trump is doing. And what will these people stop? Well, thank you for asking. Number one, And the most important thing to these people, remember this, the next president, they believe, will put 2 more Supreme Court justices on the bench. The oldest people on the court right now, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. If you want to talk about hate and who the left and the Democrats hate, I'll give you 2 words, Clarence Thomas. If they could kill that Negro, he'd have been dead 5 million times by now. Clarence Thomas is everything they hate. Why? Because they cannot control Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas does not believe he's inferior to them. Clarence Thomas has voted against affirmative action. Clarence Thomas has voted against abortion. Clarence Thomas has voted against gay marriage. Clarence Thomas has voted against taking pride out of schools, taking guns away, you name it. Clarence Thomas is the bane of their existence. And he's black. Black man is supposed to think like that. He's supposed to, he's supposed to think like that, but he's supposed to vote like that. And Clarence Thomas votes that way. And they hate him for it. Sam Alito might be white, but he's a stone cold Catholic. He's a stone cold patriot. He's as conservative as Clarence Thomas. They are thinking that these 2 men will resign or die within the next 4 years. Well, the Supreme Court right now, it has 9 members. 9. 3 of the members are very liberal. 6 are leaning conservative. So if 2 of these conservatives go away, of the 6, you'll have 4 conservatives, and then you'll have 5 liberals. See how the court tilts? It's 5-4 majority liberals. And with these liberals on the court, they can do whatever they want. They'll bypass the Congress. They'll bypass the president. And they can say things like, hey, we believe that illegals should have the right to vote. They can give illegals full citizenship. Stroke of a pen. 14th Amendment, they can apply it to anything they want. Yeah. They can say that every state constitution that doesn't allow abortion until the 9th month is unconstitutional. They can bring Roe v. Wade back. Yes, they can. That's why they want the courts. They can implement climate change. All of it. But they know if Donald Trump gets up in there, instead of the court being 6-3, the court gonna end up being 8-1. 8-1. They'll never get it back. Ever. And I'm saying 8-1 because I believe that Kagan and Sotomayor might be stepping down. And then Trump will replace them, and then he might replace Clarence Thomas and Alito. So Trump might get 4 people on the court. It'll be 8-1. But at the very least, if Alito and Clarence Thomas step down, it'll remain 6-3 in perpetuity. Oh, and that scares them to death. So, number 1, they want to take out Trump for Supreme Court. Number 2, you got school choice. And Trump has promised that he's going to implement school choice all over this country. He's going to take away these government's rights to keep these black children, these poor children in these failing schools. Men and the teachers' unions hate that. The school system is a monopoly controlled by them. There are a lot of people that make a lot of money off the public educational system. It's trillions of dollars. Now, we don't have a problem with our school teachers. Our school teachers, most of them want to see these children educated very, very well. But the bureaucracy won't let them do it. They won't let them have any discipline in the schools. They're the ones that the drag queens come in. They are the ones that take the Bible out and put the porn in. They're using the public educational system right now to make slaves out of the American people. They are using the public educational system right now to ensure that the Democratic Party reigns supreme forever, and they cannot let us have it. Oh, think about children going to school, learning the 10 Commandments, learning to obey their parents, learning that God is sovereign and that the government is not, learning that the Democratic Party is, in fact, a party of perverts, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. Yeah. A school that teaches you to marry, where abstinence is taught, where virtue is taught. Hell, the Democratic Party lose their mind behind that, man. I mean, they want all our children to be like Megan Thee Stallion, shaking and shaking and shaking. They want to turn our children out to be their sex slaves. I mean, they want all the children to be like Snoop Dogg and Flake, smoking blunts and fighting in the street, acting a fool. To them, every ghetto is heaven. Every suburb is hell. The Democratic Party heaven is an American hell. And they use the public education system to keep it going. That's why in Baltimore, they pay the woman up there at $400,000 a year, and not one school is proficient in reading or math. But she getting paid a lot of money. Detroit, the same thing. And in Chicago, oh my God, that mayor, he's talking about an increase in teachers' pay in the worst public education system in the whole nation. You know why? Because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And they give all of their money. The teachers' unions give hundreds of millions of dollars every year to the Democrat Party. 99% of all of their money go to the Democrat Party. And they don't want Donald Trump shaking up that wagon. And he has promised to give every parent school choice. That's federal money. The federal part of that money goes straight to the parent. So if you're homeschooling your child, you get that money. If you're going to send your child to private school, you get that money, or you can choose to send that money to the state. But that money belongs to you. You control it. They don't want that. Fourth reason. Well, excuse me, the third reason why they hate Donald Trump and they think they got to take him out. LGBTQ. Now, Trump's got a few LGBTQ people in his cabinet or wherever, a few people around him like that. But what these people over on Trump's side agree with is that LGBTQ shouldn't be taught to children, shouldn't be taught in schools. You shouldn't be transitioning children under the age of 18, that they have to let these children have childhood. Let them grow up. Hell, when I was little, I want to be a cowboy. So you don't take a child at 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years old and ask them what they want. Hell, you tell him what he wants. I don't want to go to church. And I don't want to go to school. Your point is, I want to eat cake for dinner. Shut up, boy, and eat your greens. Child don't tell you. But you know what? All of that, oh yeah, you can do all that. You can make him eat right. You can make him go to school. You can make him do his chores. But when it comes down to his a sex change operation, what you want? I want to be a girl. Well, let's take you to get castrated, boy. And let's make sure you take these hormones for the rest of your life. It's going to screw you up forever. Oh, they'll give him that. God, boy, you people are sick. Well, Trump has said he's not going to let these children get transitioned anymore. The government's not going to be paying for these sick operations anymore because these people make millions of dollars off these operations, maybe billions now. You have a lot of industries involved in this transition, the medications and the operations, and the fact that Obamacare will pay for it has made it a billion-dollar industry here in the United States of America. And they want to start with children because once they get them, they have them forever. They have to take hormones forever. Forever. 60, 70 years of hormones. Always going to the doctor to keep the transition from going backward. It's sinister, it's terrible, it's awful. These people need help. They need prayer. They need salvation. They need counseling. If a man walked up to the doctor and said, I think I'm a horse, you going to start cutting off his feet and putting hoofs on that? No, you get him help. You don't hurt him. You don't mistreat him. You help them. No, not these people. They take full advantage of them. Driving these people crazy. 60% of black men in the big cities that are transgender have HIV. And all of them have to pay these HIV companies for their drugs. And most of this money is government money coming from Obamacare. And do you think these people want less of these people on the street or do they want more of these people on the street? They want more. This is why they push this homosexual agenda, y'all. They know it causes HIV, but if you get HIV, they got you for the rest of your life because you got to take all this medication and Obamacare pays for it, so these people are making money hands over fist. You think they want fewer people with HIV or more people with HIV? Yeah, they want more people with HIV, and they want to be your child. Yeah, they're just that sick. Don't you look at me and tell me, oh, Vince, you crazy, you're happy. Oh, you crazy if you don't know who these people are. You don't think Satan walks this earth? You don't think that a stranger that has an option, these same people that will take a child, use a sulfur clamp and pull it out and rip it apart at 9 months for money, hire hitmen, you don't think these same people will transition your child for money? You better wake up. Understand who you're dealing with. The most evil, sinister group of people in the history of the world. The Democrat Party. And then there's Ukraine. Man, you know how much money is going through Ukraine? I mean, they were even saying for a while, admitting that the money that they're sending to Ukraine to kill hundreds of thousands of people is actually going to the defense industry and is going to create American jobs. That was their selling point. We need to okay this money for Ukraine because it will go to the defense industry, and the defense industry will then create American jobs by killing civilians in Ukraine. Then you have the LGBTQ community and the climate change people who want to press this crazy ideology further and further west because they want to use it to take over the world. Yep, the climate change people, the abortion industry, and the LGBTQ are working hand in hand to try to baptize the world into their sick ideology and add to that atheism. And they're using the power and the foreign policy of the United States of America to do it. Donald Trump has said he's going to go over there and he's going to stop that war. Day one. So all the money that's going into Ukraine and all the push to push these ideologies toward Russia, toward China, toward the Indo-Pacific and Africa will end. And these people are like the communists. They say either we take over the world or the world takes over us. We got to keep growing. They're like Walmart. We got to build stores every day, everywhere. If we ain't growing, we dying. Y'all, please understand me. This is how these people think. If we're not growing, we're dying. It's always the push. It's always the push. And this is why Ukraine is so important. They know that if they win, they can continue. But if they're stopped there, it's like Vietnam with the communists. Yeah, they might have beat us in Vietnam, but they didn't turn any other country communist after Vietnam. They won the battle, but they lost the war. They went into Afghanistan, they got turned back, and that was it. That was their first loss. But Vietnam was really their first loss. They did not take over another country after Vietnam. They see Ukraine as their Vietnam. They said, if we keep winning there, we're going to go to the next. You're talking about Vladimir Putin trying to take over Europe. No, they're trying to take over the world. That's who's trying to take over. Trump has said he'll stop all of this in Ukraine. They can't handle that. And then, y'all, it is abortion. Oh, Lord. These psychopaths got to kill. They got to kill. Like Otis Ray said, they got to kill. They done kill so many black folks and we are beyond. We're below the needed numbers to reproduce ourselves. Our birth rate should be at 2.1 to reproduce ourselves. Instead, we're at 1.6. My mother had 7 children. My grandmother had 16 children. My great-grandmother had 14. And now, there are a lot of black women not having any children at all. And if they do, they might have one. And abortion is just ravaging our whole society. And they use our children and these babies for body parts in the pharmaceutical industry. Make all kind of money off of it. But worse than anything, you guys, they are taking away people from our community and from our world. They could probably cure cancer. That could probably end our energy crisis because they're so smart. That could probably cure blindness and paralysis. But because of our hatred and our bloodlust, we're destroying ourselves. Donald Trump put the justices on the court that passed Roe v. Wade. Now what we have to do is start a society where people choose to have their children. This is not when life begins. This is when love begins. They asked Jesus Christ, what was the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then love thy neighbor as thyself. Because if you love God with all your heart, your mind, and your strength, then you can love yourself. Because he said, love your neighbor as yourself. So the way you treat your neighbor is predicated on self-love. If you love yourself, you love your child. But if you hate yourself, which is what the enemy wants you to do, he wants you to destroy yourself and you'll destroy your children too. Our Bible said he told the children of Israel, I lay before you blessings and curses, life and death. Choose life, so you and your children shall live. How do we get back to where we choose life? Well, here's the other thing. Donald Trump will allow us to practice our religions. That's how we get to the ending of abortion. We become Christians again. We go to church. We marry. We know what a man and a woman is. We know what marriage is, real marriage. Marriage is not two men and two women. No, marriage is one man and one woman. Marriage is not polyamory where you have three men married to two women and three men married to one woman. All that kind of ignorant mess. No, it's not. We go back to our Christian virtues. An ordered society that Edmund Burke talked about, where we know what the guardrails are, because right now we're in chaos and insanity. Christianity gives you that ordered society. How can you have a society without order? Every man can be a law amongst himself to himself. So abortion will not be ended with law. I'm not against making abortion illegal, but that's not going to end it. What will end it when every woman says, this life that I have in me is precious. It is my child. I'll do everything I can to take care of it. You know what? Because we all know, about 99% of abortions come from just birth control. Birth control. Now, most of us watching this are adults. We know where babies come from, right? If not, just go ahead and Google it. You'll learn it real quick. So if 99% of abortions are coming from not rape, not incest, then it's got to come from people deciding to lay down and have sex. You've decided that. Once you make that decision, why should the baby have to pay for your mistake? Because he's inconvenient? That's the trick. Christianity will teach you, number one, to only lay down with your husband. It'll teach you that if you make that mistake, then you own up to it. And you don't kill your child because of it. And of course, the United States of America, well, the Democrat Party cannot let you think that. I mean, where their money gonna come from? Planned Parenthood give them all kind of money. And these money come from abortions. The pharmaceutical industry gives them all types of money. This money comes from abortion. They gotta keep it rolling, baby. And plus, they just want to see a joker die. You see the movies they make out of Hollywood? Joker is killing folks, cutting their necks, cutting their throats, stabbing them. And you can't even watch TV no more with all that killing. That's who they are. Bunch of bloodthirsty, nasty monsters. And you let these people educate your children and control your foreign policy, control your way of life. And then, my sisters and brothers, it is the thing that scares them most of all. What are they afraid of most of all with the election of Donald Trump into the White House? He's going to expose and eliminate the deep state. What is the deep state? Deep state are a bunch of faceless bureaucrats that work within the government, that run it and we don't even know who the hell they are. Do you think Joe Biden is running the United States of America right now? Joe Biden don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He's crazy. Everybody know Joe Biden crazy. Everybody know. Nevertheless, the government's running, isn't it? Isn't that something? It's like you got a guy that said he's a pilot of an airplane, and you see him laid out on the floor, crazy, but the plane is flying itself. Who's controlling that plane? It's somebody, but we don't know who it is. Even if it's a computer. We are supposed to have a representative republic. That means we're supposed to be electing the people that run this government. Whoever they are, we're supposed to know who they are. And right now, we do not know. That's the deep state. When Donald Trump was elected president in 2016, you remember that guy, Struck, and his girlfriend, Paige? They talking about they were going to stop him. We'll stop him. It was in the FBI. This guy was high up in the FBI. Counterintelligence. We're going to stop him. Then all of a sudden, all these documents came in. Well, they impeached him twice. I forgot about that. Impeached him twice. We'll stop him. And you think they were playing? We'll stop him. We'll stop him. He didn't say, I'll stop him. We'll stop him. Who's the we? Who was that group of people that decided they were going to stop Donald Trump? You think they go? You don't think they still up in Washington, D.C., planning and plotting? Are you that naive? Donald Trump is sworn to come in and destroy the deep state. Go in deep into the government and find all of these traitors, all of these Marxists, all of these evil people. And either send them to jail or fire them. And they're all sitting there, pins and needles, scared to death. Because believe me, if he wins, he's going to do it. And they know it. Baby, this is a tense election. It is so tense. You have to pay attention now. This is why I do these podcasts. I'm trying to bring you information so that you'll understand the world that you live in. And then you have to carry it further. You have to tell somebody. You have to build a foundation for your family, for your children, so you teach them the values of being an American. You have to carry it forward. You have to talk to somebody. How are they going to know unless you tell them also? You got to tell them to watch this podcast. You got to share this information with them. It reminds me of a story I heard. Story of Desert Pete. It's an interesting story. This guy was caught in the desert. His car had stopped and he was trying to find his way to water. He was dying. He was dying. And he looked and he saw a pump coming out of the ground. He thought it was a mirage at first. And he got closer and no, this is really a pump. And he ran to the pump and he started pumping. Nothing came out of it. He said, oh my goodness, this pump is dry. But he looked down and there was a bottle of water. This guy was dying of thirst now. And the bottle had a cork in it and full of water, but it had a letter around it. And the letter said, dear traveler, I know you're dying of thirst right now. He said, this pump works. I put a rubber seal in it myself that will last a long time. He said, what you have to do, though, is take a quarter of this water and pour it into the seal to get the seal wet. And then pour the rest of it in and start it pumping. And you can drink until you're filled. Drink till you're filled. He said, then all I ask that you do is fill up this pump, fill up the bottle, put the cork back in it, put the letter on it, and leave it for the next weary traveler. Signed, Desert Pete. Now this man But the letter said, have faith that if you pour this water in here, that you will get more water. You must have faith. And then leave some for the next. So this man there dying of thirst has to decide for himself. If he's going to waste this little water, pour this water into this pump, maybe it works, maybe it won't. Does he have faith? Or does he drink this water and not just damn himself, but damn everybody else that comes behind him? Because if he does what Desert Pete says and it works, he just won't save himself. He'll save everybody that comes behind him afterward. Do you have faith and pour the water, risking death? Or do you just drink this water and hope that you can travel further? That's the story that you must have right now. That's what you must ask yourself. Do I believe this information? Do I just keep it to myself? Do I share it? Do I put it in my emails? Do I put it in my text messages? Do I send it all over the place like Desert Peach is supposed to do? Or do I just keep it for myself, just drink the bottle and not tell anybody? I'm Desert Pete. I've risked everything I have. I poured all the water into the pump. And I'm still pumping water out. I'm still pumping it out. I'm still pumping it out. You must have faith that if you talk to your family members, they'll hear you. And if they don't, talk to somebody else. You must have faith that if you share this information, others will hear it and that they'll respond to it. You must have faith to open your mouth. Spread the truth that these people are dangerous. That if they will try to eliminate a former president, what will they do to you? I just saw up in New York City. Yeah, they just grabbed Eric Adams, didn't they? I told you. They coming. Yeah, all those around Diddy, laughing, playing with him, singing with him, hanging out with him, going to his Diddy parties. They got Diddy. If you think they're just going to stop with Donald Trump, you crazy. Evil people don't know how to stop. They're coming for you. What's the old poem? When it came for the trade unionists, I said nothing. When it came for the Jews, I said nothing. When it came for the socialists, I said nothing. And then when it came for me, there was no one to speak for me. You better be like Desert Pete. You better take the water of your voice, the water of your message, prime the pump of knowledge with it, and spread it all over this country. That's how we stop these people. That's how we stop this evil institution. That's how we stop this slaughterhouse called the Democrat Party. They're trying to kill this man. And whether you like it or not, we cannot stand back and watch injustice happen. If to let injustice happen means that you are unjust. And I refuse to watch evil in my presence. I hope you feel the same way. With that, I want you to go to my website, VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That's VinceSpeaksTruth.com. On it, you will find all of my wares. You'll find my books. You will find my t-shirts and caps. You'll find my new book called The End of Tolerance that tells you we need to stop tolerating this foolishness, this insanity, this cabal of perverse liars and psychopaths and anti-Christian bigots that call themselves the Democratic Party. We're running out of time. People, I'm here to wake you up. Hope I did you some good today. So join me again next week for the next Vince Everett Ellison show.